I've been thinking about death a lot because while I was going through my photos from years ago, I found myself mourning because I am not where I thought I would be at this time in my life. I kept on wondering, maybe I should have done things differently to prevent being here today, but that is just a fallacy I tell myself sometimes because truth is, I couldn't have known then what I know now because the only way I know what I know now is through the death of the old me. We talk a lot about physical death, of our loved ones and us leaving this world someday. And it is one of the worst things to experience. And actually, this time of year is when my mother passed away. It has been 8 years and still feels like yesterday. It never gets better really. You just learn to live with the vacuum they left behind. And this is why I find death to be fascinating, because my own mother's death also came with the death of a version of me. I could have been the girl that followed all the societal rules, and maybe by now I would have been married with 2 kids. I would have chosen the life that my mother had lived, but she died. Just when I was getting into my 20s and I woke up, I could see her life clearly and I knew that I had to live differently, even if it meant being called a bad woman. And this is why I find it so hilarious when people I went to school with want to catch up with me now, after not keeping in touch for over a decade, and the first thing they say in conversation is, "I know you." It's laughable because the person they knew before is long dead, and in fact, I have killed different me's to arrive at the me of today. So no, you don't know who I am, just the same way I don't know who you are. We all go through different situations in life and they change us. Sometimes we are active participants in the change, and most times actually, we change because circumstances call for it. It becomes not a choice but a need for survival. However, because a lot of people are so afraid of change, which is really a form of death, it means that they cause unnecessary pains in their own lives and those of others. This manifests broadly in the kind of societies we have that continue to hold on to oppressive systems in the name of better the devil you know. The more you fear death, the easier you are to control. You give up living to preserve yourself from dying. Personally, death is the biggest motivator for me. To know that one day I will not be here is proof that I should use my time living to the best of my imaginations. When society tries to put me in a cage, I remind myself that it won't even care when I die, so it's pointless to listen to what it has to say. The more I think about this, the more I find ways in which we die every day. Take sleeping, for example. When you go to bed and close your eyes, it's like saying goodbye to today. And when you wake up the next day, you have a new clean slate and you get to choose what to write in it. You can carry with you whatever yesterday gave you, or you can start a new chapter. When you cry, it's like bidding goodbye to parts of yourself and welcoming something else. There's something poetic about feeling tears running down your cheeks. It could be you saying, "I see you," after denying yourself a standing ovation for the wonderful performance you've given instead of living. It could be you realizing just how much you deserve all the great things that you have now, that somehow you had refused to let yourself see. A guttural cry, one that shakes your entire body and forces you to scream. That is bidding goodbye to all expectations you had, all the concessions you had to make for others to be comfortable. But alas, none of them cared. None of them took the time to do as you've done for them, and so your body takes charge to remind you it is time to let go. It's time to be born anew and live a life befitting you. Just you and you alone. I've also started seeing my menstrual cycle in a different way because it really is a cycle of death and life. I noticed that the more I healed, the more at peace I became, the more my cycle synced with the moon, and there's nothing as glorious as seeing myself as part of nature. And the more this happens, the more I don't understand people who try to tell me to behave as less than, to stop being out there because our place is in the kitchen. What do you mean? I just have to look at the sky to be validated as the glorious human I am, and you expect me to listen to you, a mortal, over the skies, over the heavens. It's crazy how much you give up when you buy into the fear of dying, especially as a woman, because you put the entire humanity in danger by continuing to bring to life seeds that should have died a long time ago. You're so afraid of dying that you would rather put up with whatever injustices. You're so afraid of dying a single woman, so you would rather accept someone that treats you like trash just so that you can be a wife with a ring on your finger. You're so afraid of dying a childless woman, so you would rather just give birth to children, even when you don't want them, just so that you can have the title of a mother. You're so afraid of dying a difficult woman, so you keep quiet when injustices are done. You protect perpetrators to keep the peace, and you contribute to creating a cannibalistic and oppressive society for your own children. And one day, Your child's body will be brought to you, their life taken by the one you protected in exchange for the title of good woman. You'll cry, ask for justice, and wonder why no one cares for your pain. Maybe then you'll learn to die, to not be afraid of dying, and to embrace leaving behind the demons you were so happy to dance for. And now that I actually think about it, it's funny because one of the chapters in the essays I wrote about living a quarter of a century is called Death is Life. I haven't opened those essays in quite a while. Hopefully I'll publish them someday. But it is true. Death is life. Dying is living. You have to learn to embrace death for you to learn how to live your life, whether you accept it or not. Life is a series of bearing different versions of ourselves throughout our lives. And not understanding this is the reason why so many relationships suffer. There's a certain freedom that comes with knowing that I can be reborn as many times. It's just upon me and whether I have the courage to see myself in different forms. Others I may like, others I may not. But eventually, it is a part of living. This just makes life feel so poetic.